It's not that I didn't want to win, but the outcome was never that important. For me, I just wanted to be better, be a better athlete, be a better person. Even when I'm winning races or getting podiums in races or racing well, like I still don't feel like I've ticked everything that I want to tick off as an athlete. There's just constant evolution of the sport. People are getting better, technology's changing, new race formats are coming out. There are definitely times where you struggle to get out the door, like motivation comes and goes. My decision to go back, I wanted to go there and conquer those demons. And there's definitely a mental kind of thought process that I go into, and I think I feel in the zone, and I think there's definitely part of me which that killer instinct can kind of be perceived.
Alex, thanks so much for taking the time to join us for this face-to-face podcast. It's great to have you here. I guess I had one pretty direct question I felt like was an interesting starting point for this. And it's just to kind of step back a little bit. And obviously one thing you're known for is your incredible run speed. You could have probably been a very, very competitive elite runner. Why triathlon? And have you ever questioned that decision since?
We're straight in.
Straight in, yeah, sorry, with the hard stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. But yeah, I mean, for me, I guess no matter what, I think I started doing triathlon. I think for me, that was always the thing I love to do, the thing where I found so many of my good friends. My dad always did this, I did duathlon as well, so did very similar. So I think for me, it's always been kind of part of my DNA, what I've always done. So I guess I've always woken up and I always want to wake up and swim, bike and run. I think that's, for me, fundamentally what I love to do, and kind of what I feel like my purpose is in a sense. So yeah, I guess that's why triathlon at the moment. Not saying that there won't be a time when maybe I will not step away from the sport, but explore other things. But I think for now, it's just what I absolutely love to do. And yeah.
Is that something that's on your mind? Obviously you've got a lot. You're very young, you've achieved so much already, but you've obviously got a lot, I'm sure, that you want to achieve in triathlon. But is it in your mind that one day, you know what, maybe I could give kind of running a go, either alongside or, instead of, for a cycle or something like that?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I think it's so hard to know whether that's even feasible, possible. We've seen other athletes do it after Olympic cycles. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, for me at the moment, I'm absolutely all in for Paris. I think that fundamentally is all my focus is on anyway for the next 6 to 8 months or even longer. Just to make sure I cross that finish line and I have peace in my mind that I've done the best I can to achieve, whatever I do achieve, and whether that's 30th or second, first, whatever, then at least I can have peace in my mind that I've done everything I can.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for you, has the running been the thing of the three disciplines that's always come the most natural?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think there definitely is a new dynamic to running off the bike. I think that's a whole new kettle of fish for people who haven't done it before. But I think for me, I understand running like I see some other people understand swimming and cycling. I think you can see when something comes natural to somebody, I think. And for me, I've definitely had to work hard on my other two disciplines to kind of try and marry them up to a similar level to the running. But yeah, for me, I think putting one foot in front of the other seems to be something which I can, I just not know how to do, but I guess it's just come a bit more naturally. And I definitely wasn't the best growing up and going through cross-country races and through age groups in different racing in running. But I mean, for me, it just felt like something which if I worked at, I saw results and saw that I could improve. So I think that's always nice. And
I wonder if it's something interesting though that it says a bit about you and your character. It's probably not something I guess you've thought that much about, but to go down the route of triathlon. Obviously, you explained why you're so passionate about triathlon, about multisport, and where that's come from. But to challenge yourself, in a way, running would be the easy option, right? Because you said you understand it, you know it, you feel very comfortable with it, but you're challenging yourself with the other things in a way that I guess, especially until you've got to the point of, you know, the last few years where you've been incredibly successful, you kind of don't know that those are things that you're ever going to master.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, like starting the sport and going to my first few training sessions as a junior, I think I'd been doing lots of different sports and I'd enjoyed lots of different sports. But for me, triathlon was the challenge and felt like it gave me some purpose, and I wasn't good at everything, and I wanted to be good at those things. I wanted to improve, and I think for me that was exciting, and I think I've always enjoyed, I guess, challenging myself and also just not knowing if I can do something and just giving it a good go and committing to it. So yeah, I think for me that definitely is similar, and I definitely was still running alongside that and competing in that. But I mean, yeah, triathlon's always been something which I've had to really stick at and commit to. So I think it's, yeah, rewarding in that sense. I've been able to keep sticking at it and able to, yeah, kind of be where I am now.
And you mentioned your dad's doing duathlon. Could you have kind of, and that being quite inspiring for you and kind of it becoming part of your environment, I guess, do you have memories of kind of him racing or watching him go off to events and things like that and coming back and like, and how it made him feel?
Yeah, no, I think like most kids, you have role models, and those role models are normally your parents. So for me, I was able to travel kind of domestically with my dad, kind of up and down the country to different races, and watching him race and fly by on the bike and the run, I think is always something where you're kind of like, do you know what I mean? Your mouth's open, you're just kind of watching them go past, even if they're first, last, whatever, I think. So yeah, for me, that was always something which I remember seeing, remember doing. And yeah, I guess we did a similar thing with my triathlon journey in the UK as I grew up, traveled up and down the country, and yeah, he always supported me in that and almost became a taxi service for me, which I think most parents can probably relate to. So yeah, I was really fortunate in that sense, and yeah, I was able to kind of train not alongside him, but you know, in the same training sessions, and then eventually start to be in, I don't know, riding in a group ahead of him and then running in a group ahead of him. And those are always the things when you're like, well, I actually am getting better at this sport. Things are getting better. He admittedly might have been getting a bit slower, but I mean, we married up and something happened.
You've got to have an excuse, right?
Yeah,
like, no, I'm getting old. It's not you, it's me.
But I mean, yeah, it was a similar thing amongst some of my peers as well, training, and you just able to kind of elevate yourself to that level where you might be the worst in the room at the start, but you're able to push yourself and find new ceilings of what's possible.
Yeah, I mean, how was that journey? How did you find it? How did you feel? Because you said earlier, like, kind of even when you were doing the cross country, you weren't the best. Like, how did you develop? At what point did you actually start to think? Was there a race? Was there a moment, or was it a gradual realization of actually, you know what, I'm actually getting pretty good at this now. This is, and maybe I could really do something special.
I think for me, first of all, like throughout racing and stuff, I it's not that I didn't want to win, but the outcome was never that important. I think for me, I just wanted to be better and internally just be a better athlete, be a better person, just improve at what I'm working hard towards. So I think for me, that was always important, is that I was just pushing on and being better and surrounding myself with better company. And I think that was always the thing that I find just as rewarding. It could be a race, it could be a training session, but I'm able to achieve this stuff and show that I'm reaping the benefits of working hard. So yeah, I think that's kind of how I've always been in amongst it, because I think you can look at races and you can look at beating people and be motivated by that, sure, but I think once you achieve something like that, then where do you go from that point?
Yeah.
So for me, that's always been kind of how I've focused myself, is just being the best I can be and improving myself.
It's fascinating, really, with that, and it's different things motivate different people, don't they? But it's like, I mean, what's more satisfying to you then? Is it the results? Is it, yeah, I've won this, I've won that, I won this race, I've got this medal or whatever, or is it that process and that constant evolution that's more important to you?
I think it's got to be a mixture. I think the winning races the way I want to win races is something which I think I'm really proud of. Like being able to race a race like Paris this year and be able to swim well, bike well, run well. I think, or Cagliari this year. I think those races are races that I'm proud to have said like, yeah, I really put myself out there and I gave myself a good go and it came off, and I'm really proud of that. But yeah, I think also just like that all comes down to me trying to be better in training, trying to better myself from the year before and the year before that. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't always work, and that's okay. I think that's part of it, is just the trial and error of it. And then when it does come off and things go well, and yeah, I think that's always a rewarding feeling.
It's interesting that as well with elite sports people, because it's like, are you, especially ones that are incredibly successful like you, are you more motivated by the successes, or are you actually more motivated when things aren't going well?
I don't know, to be honest. I think it's a mixture. I think I'll always try and find a solution when things aren't going wrong, and I think that's something which motivates me. But then at the same time, I don't feel like, even when I'm winning races or getting podiums in races or racing well, like I still don't feel like I've ticked everything that I want to tick off as an athlete and how I want to race. So I think at the moment they're both very similar things, because I'm striving to just be better, and maybe I will get to a point where if things go badly, I'll find solutions, and if things go well, then I'll be like, I feel like I've done everything I can do. But I really can't see that happening, especially in the sport like ours. Like there's just constant evolution of the sport. People are getting better. Technology's changing. New race formats are coming out. They're getting shorter. They're getting more exciting. I think for me, I think there's always going to be something which I can work towards and look forward to doing. So I think that's another thing which really excites me about the sport. And yes, I think it's just, a really exciting sport to be part of as well.
How hard is it to kind of, you talked about the different formats. There's a lot of different things to achieve, and there's it's great for the growth of the sport. There's a lot more opportunities to race, for athletes to win stuff, to raise their profile, to earn more money, et cetera, et cetera. But I guess for an athlete, it must be very hard to make that juggle. And like, what, can I do it all? Do I have to sacrifice some things? It's like, that must be a really difficult thing. And how do you even kind of get to know whether you're making the right decisions on stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always going to be hard with like so many different race series out there. We've got, our World Series, we've got the French Grand Prix Racing Series, we've got Super League, so much other stuff, and then PTO are kind of not a million miles away from a lot of the people who do race here. So, I mean, there's so much going on, and I think for us, I think first of all, it's incredible that we're still able to find such amazing start lines on every start line that we're finding ourselves on, which I think is exciting and testimony to the level of the sport at the moment. But I mean, I think it's still very hard to plan to be able to race at your best for a whole year, and kind of race so much as well. I think that's another thing, is we're starting racing now with the Arena Games in kind of February time, and then you can finish last year as late as the end of November. So yes, it's hard to plan for. I can't lie, and I think sometimes I make mistakes, sometimes you get it right, but I think it's all about trial and error and just learning from each year.
I just want to step back a little bit on talking about your family there, because you talked about the inspiration and the support that they've provided you. Obviously, you've got everybody's like a product of their I guess their heritage, and you obviously have a really interesting heritage, really interesting family story, and like how your grandparents came to be in the UK. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my dad is fully Chinese, and his granddad and my grandma moved across from Mozambique, where they moved away from China, and were living for a number of years to come and live in the UK to kind of give my dad and his brother and sister a better life and a new opportunity. And I guess that their legacy still lives on. And my granddad's crazy 90-year-old man who does parkrun every week and is still staying active. Sadly, my grandma's not with us anymore, but yes, yeah, he's still an inspirational man who still somehow manages to run around a parkrun, even though he's blind and deaf in about an hour. So yeah, he's a hugely inspirational man, and yeah, I guess has kind of set up our family and yeah, given us a great opportunity.
What took them from China to Mozambique? That's a big leap.
I think it was something to do with the communism movement around that time. There was a big Portuguese community within the Mozambique area, so he moved there, and then also has he travels to Tenerife quite a lot as well, where there's also a fairly big Portuguese community as well. So I think that's I don't know 100% about it, but yeah, he was a worker, and my grandma was from quite a wealthy family, and he kind of won her over, and yeah, they somehow ended up here. It all sounds a bit fictional, doesn't it? But
sounds
yeah,
like
it's
a movie,
bit bizarre, yeah. But yeah, that's how we're here.
I mean, like in terms of your upbringing, your life as well, obviously, China is known, and Chinese heritage known for very strong family and things like that. Like, have you kind of felt like you've had this upbringing that's been sort of the best of all worlds? You've had this, you're very much British yourself, but you've kind of got this heritage that like adds a lot more to you probably as a person as well, a lot more cultural exposure.
Yeah, definitely, and especially as an eldest son, I think that's always been something, is that you and your father have quite a close relationship, and the whole family. So yeah, definitely from an early age, I was definitely taught a lot of to be respectful to my elders and yeah, just understand the kind of, not the hierarchy, but like to understand when he speaks, I listen. But then also he probably has had a bit of, you know, like understands the UK culture and how my mother is with me, and she obviously spent quite a lot of time with me as I grew up as well. So I've always had that great balance between the two. And for me, they've never pushed me into sport or anything like that. I always found myself, kind of finding the sport, through myself and asking questions, and they never pushed me or anything like that. So I've been incredibly lucky. But yeah, they were never, they were always supportive, but never pushy, which I think is hugely, I'm hugely lucky for. And I think having a good set of parents is always, something which I've been hugely grateful for, and has, really helped me to kind of develop as a youth and a junior.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well. Like, I imagine growing up, you obviously grew up in London, and you've got different heritage, but there's such a diverse melting pot of cultures and different people there. It just must be fascinating to be part of.
Yeah, definitely. I think people often ask me like, "Oh, did you feel different being a half Chinese kind of person, who British born Chinese who goes to school and stuff?" And I've always said no, because I've been with so many different kind of ethnicities as I went to school. It was so diverse, and I think for me, I didn't know anything any different, and I think that's been amazing. I've learned so many different things and have so many different friends, irrespective of, you know, color, creed, sexual orientation. So yeah, I think I'm hugely grateful for that, and yeah, it's taught me a lot. So yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's I guess that's one of the big challenges for triathlon as a sport, is diversity. Like, you can say everything you want about triathlon and, like, you know, gender equity and things like that, which is obviously very strong, but obviously it struggles massively for diversity. Look around, it's mainly white middle class people doing the sport, frankly. It's interesting. I wonder if you're like if you kind of ever felt any different in the sport of triathlon because of your heritage, or whether kind of it sits comfortably with you, or it's difficult, that probably a lot of people see you as an inspiration because you are different than what is this stereotype of who's on the start line for these events.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been really lucky in that, I guess, when we went to national camps, no one sees anyone as anything different. I think we've always been supportive of each other, and yeah, I think that's been great. And yeah, I guess for me, I hope I can be an inspiration to people, not only from kind of a Chinese ethnicity or East Asian ethnicity, but also just from inner cities and places where it maybe isn't as easy to train. Like you can do it. There's plenty of people around you and passionate people that can do it. And I guess I can use myself as a testimony to show that, you know, if you look in the right places and have the right support, then you really can do amazing things, hopefully. So yeah, I think yeah. I mean, I always do find it weird that people look up to me because I'm just a normal person. Like I don't have any different life to anyone else. I haven't eaten a different breakfast to anyone else or done anything. So I think, yes, yeah, it's bizarre, but yeah, I love the opportunity that I'm able to do it.
I mean, did you feel like, have you kind of had to grow into that and feel it a little bit? And is it weird also for you, because you know, I know I've heard you speak before about kind of the 2012 Olympics, and then you see Ali and Johnny, and you know, you're probably looking up to them. Then suddenly you're like that guy now. Did it take a little while to kind of get used to people looking at you like that?
Yeah, I still find it bizarre. Like I still don't. Yeah, kind of fully appreciate that gravity of, I guess, of what it means and stuff. But I think for me, I feel like I come from a different place to Ali and Johnny in that, yeah, I can provide that inspiration for people who are inner cities, who are maybe, yeah, just don't have the access to the facilities that maybe they want to have and stuff. And I want to be that person who can just be able to kind of facilitate the sport in places where it hasn't been able to be done before. And I think for me, that's really important. And yeah, hopefully I can do that. And yeah, hopefully that's something that I can help to do in the future.
Yeah, it's interesting how kind of sport, like you're chasing a goal the whole time, aren't you? Like a physical goal, ambitions, but then it thrusts you into something that it's not kind of not what you sign up for. It's like, I'm signing up because I love the sport. And then suddenly you have to sit and do this. You got sponsor commitments you've got to think about. You've got people looking up to you. You walk down the street, people want selfies or autographs, or they want to talk to you just because they love watching you compete. It's like, it's a crazy world to suddenly just be in that cycle. Kind of almost out of nowhere as well. It happens quickly, really.
Yeah. I mean, life is crazy. I don't know. It just works in funny ways. Like, I was just having my interview with Bob earlier, and we were talking about if the Olympics was the year before, what happens if there wasn't a COVID outbreak? I literally wouldn't have gone to the Olympics. I probably wouldn't have even been in a situation where I'm sitting here with you now and talking. So it's just funny how the world works. And yeah, I mean, it's a privilege to be able to kind of be able to inspire people. And I think that's one of the beautiful byproducts of being able to race and have a little bit of success, is that you can kind of inspire that next generation. And I think for me, that's one of the most rewarding things that came out of particularly the Olympics, is just seeing the amount of excited people, kind of irrespective of age, that are telling me that they woke up the next day after the Olympics and they went for a run, or they went for a swim, or they signed up for their first triathlon. And that is just incredible to think that I'm able to impact that person's life. And who knows whether that's just what they needed. They just needed to watch something exciting, or hopefully, we could just put a smile on someone's face in such a rubbish time, to be honest, over COVID. Like that's more than enough for me. Has it always come naturally, or have you ever thought about like kind of how you want to be and how you want to be seen? For example, like I've never seen you ever not do a selfie with somebody, not sign an autograph for somebody, not like taking a picture with a little kid or something that's come up to you. You always have made time for people like that. Is that something that's just come naturally because that's who you are, that's the product of your upbringing, or kind of have at some point you've had to think, how do I want people to see me? How do I want to treat people? Well, I think most importantly, I was one of those kids. I was one of those people that waited after the Leeds World Series and tried to get a signature off Alistair or Johnny, or stood on the sidelines in London 2012 and watched them rush past, and was able to watch the kind of highest level of sport in my back door. And I think for me, I always remember that, remember how that feels, and how special that was to me, to be able to kind of have that 10-second interaction with somebody. It can make you, it can inspire somebody to keep going for a year, to keep going for that next week. So I think for me, that's kind of what I remember. And for sure, there are times when it's not ideal. You wanna warm up for your race, or you're just about to start the race and somebody asks you for a picture. But I think that people are always very respectful and understand. And yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've been in that position, and for me, it would just be an injustice if I didn't kind of do the same thing for them, because they've kind of come out to watch. They've come to, hopefully enjoy the racing. So yeah.
We talked a little bit about family, and I guess in a way like the wider support network that you've had and that you've got. I also want to talk to you a little bit about Olivia Matthias, your partner, also triathlete, fantastic athlete in her own right as well. What has she brought to you as a person as well, in terms of like you as a person and I guess a sportsman as well?
Yeah, she's just been a companion through everything. I think most importantly, like just somebody who's been there through the thick and thin. We've both seen each other's journeys. We both support each other no matter what. So I think it's been really special to kind of share that with her. Even through kind of COVID, we were able to kind of keep going, keep training, keep enjoying stuff. So I think for me, it's just amazing to be able to share this with somebody who you love, and able to do this day in, day out. And I think there are definitely times where you struggle to get out of the door, like motivation comes and goes, but we're able to kind of be with each other, keep that discipline. And it's really special to be able to share that with her.
When you're both in so deep, I guess, on triathlon, like how easy is it do you find it easy? Have you had to find ways to kind of go, no, the triathlon switch is off now. We're Alex and Liv at home. We're not the triathletes now.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I'm probably quite bad at that compared to her. She's very good. She has a lot of stuff outside the sport. She's a very talented baker. She spends a lot of time with Sophie doing nails and stuff like that. So she has her own little niches of stuff. But yeah, I'm still trying to find something which I can do, which doesn't make me a crazy triathlon maniac. But I mean, I think there are definitely times where you need to switch off from the sport and be away from it. But I think I think she's probably good for me in that sense, that we are able to kind of get home sometimes and just switch off and just spend time as like a normal couple, and just enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, I mean, how important is that to you? Because again, all athletes are different at elite level. Like you talk to somebody like obviously Christian, who's at one end, a complete extreme of the spectrum, that he basically won't do anything, Christian Blumenfeld, which isn't directly performance related in any way, shape or form. And then but then you've got people who very actively know that the only way they can keep doing this is to make it mentally sustainable for themselves by having this break. But there must always be that temptation to go, but if I just did this, or if I just did that, but it becomes unsustainable after a while. Have you had to, you obviously sound like you're all in, I know, but have you had to work to try and find some balance?
I'm probably one of those weird people who I find training enjoyable. Like, I don't know, not training enjoyable, but triathlon is still my hobby. Do you know what I mean? Like, triathlon's still something which, I don't know, if I need to clear my head or get some headspace, I'll go for a run, and that is the ultimate way where I clear my head and stuff like that. So I think for me, I'm still, I still probably you would say in a way I'm closer to Christian than the other side. Because socially I enjoy triathlon because a lot of my best friends are part of the sport, and that goes for in competition and in training as well. So I think for me that's a huge thing, is that like I get a huge amount of joy and pleasure from training and just going through the day in, day outs. But yeah, I mean, Liver's probably taught me to an extent that that it's good to have some time away and enjoy, enjoy the little things in life. And I think as you get older, it's funny, you start to appreciate the need to see your family more and little things like that. So I think for me, it's just been good to be able to find a little bit of balance within the sport. But yeah, still definitely find that triathlon is kind of my it sounds a bit sad, but like my enjoyment and not my social time, but a time where I still feel like I can be very social.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody's different, and it's like you've got to find everybody's trying to strive with whatever they do in life to find like the balance that works for them. And whether you're an athlete or not, it's very hard to always get the balance right. But talking about very, I guess, like formative moments in your career and things that have affected you negatively, positively. Obviously, you had this terrible bike crash very early in your sort of elite level career, effectively. How can you talk about how bad that was, but also kind of how did it affect you? Does it still kind of affect you? Is it hard to kind of always get away from it because it was pretty bad, right?
It was not my finest hour. So I had quite a bad bike crash in Cagliari, which I broke 4 vertebrae, 4 ribs, my scap in 4 places, and then had a traumatic pneumothorax. So long list of injuries. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think it was such a long time away from the sport that it just really gave me some clarity that it was what I wanted to do and loved doing. So I think for me, it was actually kind of almost a blessing in a way. And I always look back at it and think, well, 1 inch different and I could have been paralyzed. Like, who knows what could have happened. So in a way, I was really lucky in that obviously the crash wasn't ideal, but the way the crash happened and the way I'm able to be back here is amazing. That I'm able to stand here and to even go back to Cagliari and race there 3-4 times and win on the highest level twice as well there, I think is always special, and I always love going back there.
Was that the hardest bit? When I mean, obviously, like mentally, I guess getting back on the horse, as it were, or on the bike in this case, is you have to get through that. But kind of once you've done that, going back to the place that it actually happened again and going, I'm going to go absolutely full gas the way you guys like absolutely like are railing the corners and you're on full gas the whole time. Was that challenging for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, the year after, I really wanted to go back, and it was my decision to go back. I wanted to go there and conquer those demons, and I think for me, that not the first race, but being able to go there and when was it, 2022, and win that race in the World Series, I think really closed that chapter in my life. I think it was a way of me just being able to say, I've got the better of this, and I think that's really special, and I think that it just shows, I think no matter what, there's always kind of a new chapter to be written in your life, which I think is nice. And I mean, I'm hugely grateful that I was able to be in that position in the first place. And like I said, it's funny how the world works, and just lucky to be, well, first of all, lucky to be here, but lucky to just be racing and doing what I love.
Do you see that then as it's always interesting to ask people like what are the kind of biggest wins in their career, because they're often not the things that it must be what you did in that race, or it must be this, like it's the Olympics or it's whatever. Was that kind of like one of the biggest wins because it just put this whole thing to bed, and in your mind you're like, it's done?
Yeah, that one was. And then also the it sounds small, but the first cross country race I did back after I had all my injuries and I was able to race again, just to be able to stand on the start line again was just that overwhelming sense of gratitude, and to be able to win that race at Box, was really special. And there's a funny picture of me crossing the finish line looking really emotional, and people would think, why are you so emotional about that? But it is sometimes there's so much more to a result than meets the eye. So I think for me, there's a whole process and a whole story behind it, and that made it really special.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of brings me on to another thing, really. That I guess as an athlete, you're always growing, developing, you're learning the whole time. And yeah, I mean, you are still incredibly young. Obviously, you've had some challenges as well in the last couple of years in the World Series finals. You've kind of gone in. You've been the favourite.
Bottle job.
Yeah. Well, no.
3 times.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
is that how you that actually how
I'm
you
joking.
see it?
No,
Surely
not at all.
not.
I think for me, I've been really proud of each year that I've done. I think each year there's been 3 really big distinct goals which have kind of superseded in a way the race, like the kind of whole series in essence. So I guess in 2021 that was the Olympic Games, and then 2022 was the Commonwealth Games, and then this year was Paris and the qualification for next year's Olympics. So I've kind of gone all in on those 3, and unfortunately I fell short each time. And when it comes to the final, and sometimes it's okay to fail and not, well, it's not even failing. I'd say it's just not succeeding, because you gotta learn, you gotta keep progressing. And for me, that's what I love doing. And for me to stand, to meet at the end of the year with my coaches and all my other support staff and be like, right, well, there's a heck of a lot we can still do, is exciting to me, not intimidating. So yeah, I think that's really cool.
And also, I'm interested to talk to you a little bit about, like, a great sport is made of great rivalries. There's obviously a lot of talent in the sport right now. You mentioned it before, and we saw that as well, I guess, the last 2 years, where everybody's talking about Hayden and Alex going into the final, and then Leo Berger and Dorian Connix come away as world champions, which kind of both, I guess, surprise results, great athletes, but sort of surprised. But that Hayden Alex narrative the whole time, I wonder a little bit, do you see that as kind of like a bit of a distraction, because those results prove like there's a lot of other guys around, other than you guys, that you have to beat to be the best?
Yeah, no, I think we both appreciate that there's 65 guys on the start line, which are super hungry, super motivated to do the best they can. And I think we definitely both appreciate that there's lots of people who on their day could really push us and really expose us in different areas of racing. But yeah, I think at the same time, we both have a great appreciation for each other. We've both had some great battles this year. So I think it's still a great honor to be two people in a generation who are able to race each other, and to have come to Super League in 2018 and room together, and to now be here. I think is funny how our stories have been so intertwined. And yes, it's not always nice to kind of share that journey and kind of be racing towards the top. But yeah, triathlon's a funny, unpredictable sport, and I think like we've seen last week and a year ago as well, like anything can happen, and people on their day can really throw out amazing performances.
One thing that I guess strikes me about you, just like the last few years that I've known you, is you're very thoughtful, you're very quiet, unassuming, you're very polite, you're a nice lad. But you, underneath that, when you get on that race course, do you feel like you unleash an animal of some kind? Because you've got what great champions have, which is a killer instinct. Like, when you're on somebody, you can stamp on their throat effectively. That's what it's all about. Hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically,
But you know what I mean? Like, that's what kind of great champions are able to do. And they can be different people in different environments. Like, who they are on the course is not necessarily who they are off the course. Like, do you feel that? Is there kind of like some sort of switch that goes off in you when that gun goes?
I wouldn't say there's a switch, but there's definitely a mental kind of thought process that I go into, and I think I definitely feel like I have I feel in the zone, and I think there's definitely part of me which, I don't know, things just come at you slower, and you feel, I don't know, I feel how like I have in a good race like real clarity of decisions, and I think that's where maybe that kind of that killer instinct can kind of be perceived and seen as that kind of when I see an opportunity, I have the kind of clarity to make that decision and commit to it. So I think for me, that's kind of I definitely have a different mind process when I step on the race course. And I don't know, it's a weird one. You never really think about it too much when you look back at it, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess when you're doing it, it's just natural.
Yeah, you just kind of do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess it's something which still, luckily comes a little bit naturally to me. And sometimes it's nice when you just don't have to think, you just do it. And
it's probably better for us to analyze it sat on the sofas at home watching you than it is for you to do it in the race or think about it. So I guess like kind of finally, it's all about Paris now, right? It's about Paris. It's kind of, I wouldn't say win or bust is way too big a way of putting it, but for you at your level, like the opportunities of the Olympics, athletes don't get that many cracks. This is the one kind of, the last one, you obviously, as you said, you kind of went in late. You're on this amazing trajectory, just running into it. This is the one, the build's there, everything's set up for you to try and, I guess, get this individual gold and maybe another relay gold as well for GB.
Who knows? I don't want to put too much pressure on it, but definitely I think this is the best opportunity I've been in, best shape, best position I've ever been in, I guess, going into an Olympic year. And 6 months is still a long time. So there's still a lot of things you have to get right and wrong to stand on that start line and be like, yes, I have a real good opportunity to race the best of my ability. Everything's gone right. And I think for me, that's what I'm going to focus on for the next few months, is just making sure that, I can, first of all, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying training, but also just making sure I'm standing on that start line saying, I've given myself the best chance to race the best of my ability, and whatever position I achieve from this, whether it's 50th, second, first, whatever, I've won that position. I've really achieved it because I've worked hard and I've executed a race plan and processes. So that's my cop-out way of saying giving an answer to your question.
It's not a cop-out. It's just what you got to do, right? Because I guess that's the one thing. It's easy to look at from the outside, but it's so hard, must be so hard for you. It's like everybody's putting that pressure on you. You know it's there. You want to win the Olympics. Like, you don't even need to say that. But you've got to find a way of that not consuming you and eating you up in the time between now and getting on that start line, right? And that's what it's all about. It's physical preparation, but it's mentally not putting that pressure on yourself with like months and months to go.
Yeah, sure. And I think that all comes back down to just thinking internally and bettering myself and being better each day. And if I can be better than I was this year and had the results that I've had this year, then who knows what could happen next year if I keep improving. So I think that's what I'm just going to try and stay focused on over the winter and throughout these next few races. I think is just trying to be even 1% better. I think if I can stand on a start line next year 1% better, then who knows what could happen.
Well, Alex, look, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, and certainly wish you all the very best for the build up to Paris and beyond. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Cheers.